Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for March 5th, 2025. We're going to be doing a 2025 NFL mock draft today to talk about the combine results and whatnot. We had a lot of changes in the mock draft, so I thought I'd get to it. We're actually going to have Charlie Campbell on later in the week, I think on Thursday. So I think we're going to do like a live mock then, and then hopefully we'll have some player props for the draft that Charlie can give us. But it might still be too early. But if you guys have any questions for Charlie, you can save them for Thursday. And yeah, as you can see, I'm flying solo tonight. Going to have Kenny on Wednesday. I think Charlie on Thursday, and then Tom on Saturday. So yeah, so like. As you know, whenever I'm flying solo, you guys can ask me anything. I'll answer everything, and just because I don't have to worry about anyone getting into trouble. But before we get into everything, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. As you can see, I am wearing a Walter Football light blue t-shirt, which is part of our I don't even know at this point. It's one of our collections here, and you can get any of these shirts, and you might be like, wait, I don't see a light blue t-shirt. But you actually can click on one of these things. Let's do money laundering because Trump just spoke tonight. You can get in any color. You can get pink for some reason if you wanted to. I don't know why. You can get red. You can get maroon, green. They have all these out. Green, don't get green. This the colors don't line up, but you can get almost any color here. I don't see yellow, but like even like off or like this like gray. Like you can get anything here. You can customize everything. You can get hoodies too. Buying this stuff would really help support the show. Also, please consider going to Amazon, buying my books. Jerks of the College Years is the most recent one. I spent 6 years at Penn State, and it made fun of people, so you guys might like that. Also, how the 2020 MVP was stolen. Speaking of Trump, speaking again tonight. This is about how Brett Favre tried to sabotage Aaron Rodgers 4 years ago. It's a crazy tale. If you haven't read it, like it's a must read. Plus it's the genesis of No Cookie Jordan Love, that nickname. So if you're ever wondering where that nickname came from, you'll finally be able to learn that in this book. Also, super chats, super stickers. That's the best way to support the show. Slew and John Sanders helped us out a lot on Saturday. The boss, Cam McNeagle, Alan Stafford, DeGeneron. You guys have been so great with your contributions. I can't say that enough. So really, please consider supporting us some more. It really keeps the show going because, as I always say, YouTube ads pay nothing. It's quite embarrassing. It's like 80 cents. It's 80 cents per video if we don't get any super chats, super stickers. So I could literally go outside and get some change and make more than that. Patrick says Ukraine/Russia peace based. Yeah, I mean that's what we want, right? We like, why are we even interfering in this war? I've said it so many times. We know why. I mean, there's a lot of money laundering going on. Like even Zelensky said that 70 of the 170 billion that was promised to Ukraine has been missing. Like a lot of the money went to like shell companies over there, and they just disappeared in the middle of the night. A lot of shady stuff's been going on, and you kind of wonder like, where is this money gone? You kind of know. It's common sense. So we know why like they're so gung ho about keeping the war going. It's pretty sick because people are dying. So the fact that Trump wants peace is not surprising. I mean he's the first. He's I think the only president in my lifetime who didn't start any new wars. And so that's the way he always said. He said he doesn't want people to die, and that's true. So hopefully this ends. This nonsense ends, and both sides get some of what they want. So yeah, hopefully that happens. But yeah, let's get to the mock draft. Also gonna get into some of the signings after that. So yeah, like I said, if you guys have any questions, doesn't have to be about football. Just answer everything. By the way, let me know what you think about the audio. So I did this on Saturday, and I think it was Cassandra who said that there was an issue with the audio, like too much treble or something, or like Tom sounded louder than I did. But then I heard the audio on YouTube when I played back the video, and it sounded great. So I thought I'd try it again. It's still awkward though. Like I have trouble hearing what I'm saying, and like it's a strange sensation, like not being able to hear directly what you're saying. I hear a little bit. It's like quiet though. But the audio sounded a lot better You guys can even hear the difference yourself if you play Saturday's video. Like the first like 5 minutes is me with this on, and then like the rest of it is the usual thing with this earbud stuff. Um, this sounds a lot better, but I don't know. Maybe I have to get used to like not being able to hear myself. I don't know. It's strange. Or I should probably stop being cheap and lazy and getting. I should probably get another microphone because the microphone I used to use broke. We had a good microphone. I was using it for like 7 or 8 years. Um, Matt Taibbi said Friday's meeting turned into Three Stooges fight. Zelensky leaving with pie in face and trick or treat bag empty. Excellent journalist, been loving his Substack. Yeah, that's what it felt like. It was quite embarrassing for him. I loved. I'm sure you heard it, Patrick, but like when Zelensky first arrived, Trump was like, "Hey, he decided to dress up for a change." It's like I got a good laugh out of that. It's so funny. It's the classic Trump, and also classic Zelensky because like he didn't even dress up. I guess that was a joke, but. Like he wore like a longer sleeve camo instead of a shorter sleeve. It's pretty ridiculous. Just like I don't know, like like if you're asking for money, you could at least like buy a suit and wear it. It seems so stupid. Because I just still don't love it. Maybe it's just me, but sounds very tiny. But Patrick says audio sounds good for me. Yeah, Cassandra, can you like when you have time after this, like, can you like just play Saturday's video, like the first 5 minutes, and then listen to like later? It just seems like the audio is so much better in the first 5 minutes. So I don't know. I thought I'd try it, but like I said, what I really need to do is buy a microphone. It's over there. It's broken. Just won't turn on. But it was like Kenny bought it for me like 6 or 7 years ago, and it lasted a while, but I guess like everything breaks after a little bit. So, all right, let's get into this mock draft. And I really considered moving off Cam Ward here for the Titans, and if I do, it's going to be Abdul Carter. Now Harold Landry is going to be leaving. It sounds like the Titans gave him permission to seek a trade, and I think it just makes more sense to take an edge rusher number one. They're chasing C.J. Stroud and also Trevor Lawrence, so they need as much of a pass rush as possible, and their pass rush was pretty weak last year. But I think if the Titans stay at one, I think they draft a quarterback, but I think they go after like Sam Darnold or Aaron Rodgers. I think that's their plan, and it sounds like, and I kind of mentioned this in the title. Jordan Raanan from ESPN is like one of the few good ESPN reporters. He said that it's looking like the Giants are moving up for Cam Ward to number one. And I assume they think that they need to pass the Browns to do that. I assume that's the case because the Browns are, Schefter said the Browns are like almost certain to take a quarterback. So, yeah, if the Giants really like Cam Ward more than Shedeur Sanders, which is something Charlie Campbell reported during the combine, then they have to leapfrog Cleveland. And so, if the Titans sign Darnold or Rodgers, it makes sense for them to move down. They can get some picks. Like it won't be like a huge haul moving down from 1 to 3 because they're still getting the prospect they want, and like there's not as much of a demand. Like the Jets I feel like are too far back to trade up to number one. Same with the Raiders. And plus, like these two quarterbacks aren't like elite prospects like we saw last year with Caleb Williams and Jane Daniels. I like Ward. I like Sanders. They're good prospects. They're not great prospects by any means. So, and I do like Ward better than Sanders. So, I think the trade happens, and this is why I didn't move off this pick is because I think Cam Ward will be the number one pick. Whether it's via Tennessee or the Giants, or who knows, maybe Cleveland, maybe the whole Giants moving up things to smoke screen to get Cleveland to swap. I can see that happening. But either way, whether it's Tennessee or Cleveland or the Giants or who knows, some other team, I think Cam Ward will still be the number one pick. So that's why I kept him here. Number two, Shedeur Sanders to the Browns. As Schefter said, they're going to take a quarterback. They really don't have much of a choice. Their only quarterback on the roster is Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So, yeah, they could maybe sign Kirk Cousins, but I mean, really, what's the point? They're $30 million over the cap. Myles Garrett wants out, and so that'll relieve some cap space. But like their defense is going to be so much worse without Garrett. It just this team is going to hit rock bottom. I think they're the worst team in the NFL, and I said this on Saturday with Tom. I would bet their underwin total, like no matter what it is, unless it's like something egregious like 3. Even if it's like 4.5, I think it's gonna be 4.5. But like that's usually the lowest number is, and sometimes it creeps down to 4. if it's 3.5, I think I'd still consider it, but like 4.5, definitely. It feels like the Patriots last year, 4.5, which like came like dangerously close to losing, especially after they beat Cincinnati in week 1, but they ultimately got there and it won 4 games. So it was under 4.5. So we have Giants here 3, and same thing as number 1. Like I think this pick is going to be Abdul Carter. So it's going to be either the Giants making this pick or the Titans making this pick. Um, the Giants like Abdul Carter more than Travis Hunter. Charlie also reported that at the combine, which is a little weird because the Giants have a really good edge rush with Brian Burns and Thibodeau. But I guess you can never have like enough elite edge rushers. It kind of reminds me when the Giants when they had like Justin Tuck and Michael Strahan, they drafted son, the name's tip of my tongue, Matthias Kiwanuka. It's like I remember when that happened. I'm like, don't they have enough edge rushers? Like, no, I mean, no, because they used it to beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl, so it worked out. So the Giants have a history of this, so I think that it's going to be Carter here instead of Hunter. Speaking of Hunter, I think the top 4 picks are pretty set. I think it's going to be 2 quarterbacks. Well, I should say this. I think 3 of the top 4 picks are set. It's going to be Ward, Carter, or Hunter, and Hunter. Those are the top 3 locks. And then the 4th pick is either going to be Sanders or you might get a wild card, whoever at number 4. But I think that if the Giants move up for a quarterback and the Browns take a quarterback, then you're going to see Carter and Hunter in some order. I think Carter then Hunter, like I have here. The Patriots like Carter more than Hunter. Charlie reported that back in the Senior Bowl. So unless something has changed, I would assume they go Carter over Hunter. Both are available somehow, which I don't see how. But Hunter would still be a great pick for them. They need quarterback help. Actually, they need everything. They need everything except for quarterback. But they especially need a receiver. And Hunter could do both. I don't know what exactly he's going to do. And like part of the reason for that is like, it was like why his fantasy projection is so tough. I don't know what to do with Travis Hunter for fantasy. But he's going to play receiver. He's going to play both. I think he's going to play more corner than receiver. But yeah. So Mike's saying sounds a little tinny to me too. I don't know what that word is. Sounds distant or hollow too. Interesting. But Patrick says it sounds good. So I don't know. Maybe this microphone needs to be closer to my face. I don't know. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. I just thought I'd try it out, but I guess I just needed to just suck it up and buy a new microphone. Speaking as Giants fan, I'm conflicted on Rodgers rumors on one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch, but worried about his locker room figure pointing and if he still has it at his age. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to sign Rodgers. Feels like the Giants either need to dedicate themselves to Cam Ward or they need a tank for Arch Manning, like one or the other. And it feels like Rodgers does neither, because if they sign Rodgers, they're not going to move up for Ward. And if they have Rodgers, they're not going to be bad enough to have the number 1 pick next year. Like, and he's not going to get them to the playoffs unless something crazy happens. I don't think he has it anymore. Like, I still think he could be like a 15 to 20 quarterback. Okay, Mike's saying this better, so let's just do that. Yeah, so I can see Rodgers being a 15 to 20 quarterback at the very best, especially with like Malik Neighbors, and if the Giants get another number 2 receiver. But he's still not going to be great enough. And the Giants, I mean, let's face it, the Giants have a lot of problems. They have offensive line issues. They need more receiving help. Their defense has some holes. Its defense is solid, but it has some holes. And I don't really see them making the playoffs. So like why even sign Rodgers? I think it's a bad move. So I agree. I don't like this at all, Patrick, for you. For your team, I should say. All right, number 5. Charlie reported this that the Jaguars like Kelvin Banks. So some people might expect Will Campbell to be here. Campbell's arms measured at 32 5/8 inches, which I woke up Sunday morning and like that's all I saw in my Twitter feed when I first looked at it, and I was like, wow, like it's kind of weird. It's like 3/8 of an inch is gonna make that much of a deal. Like if Campbell's arms measured 33 inches, no one would be talking about it because it's like 3/8 of an inch shorter. It's like everyone went nuts about it, and they were like, oh, Campbell's gonna have to move the guard. And like, yeah, I mean, teams are going to be concerned about it. That's why I gave him a stock down. But like ultimately, I don't think it matters so much. There've been tackles who've had short arms. Michael Roos, I think Jake Matthews had short arms, if I'm not mistaken. Um, you know, it's not like it's like a slight worry, but I don't think it's enough to drop him out of the top 10. Which I still have him, but Charlie said that the Jaguars like Calvin Banks more than Campbell even before the arm measurement. So I'm gonna trust Charlie here because he's the man. Number 6, Raider is Ashton Genty. So I kind of asked Charlie about this, and Charlie had another report saying that the Raiders really like Genty and Tedero McMillan. So I think it's going to come down to those two, unless something crazy happens or the Raiders move up. But the Raiders don't have a running game at all, and Genty is I don't think he's on the level of Barkley or McCaffrey as far as prospects is concerned, but I think he's on the next tier, maybe like on the Jahmyr Gibbs level. And so I think that he, in this weak draft class that doesn't really have too much top down talent, I think that he makes sense in the top 10. Um, the Raiders last year, they drafted a tight end, and I know it's a different regime, but Brock Bowers really worked out for them. And I think that Genty is going to be on the radar too, as the best player available here after Carter and Hunter. So I think they'll take Genty. Not like super confident in it right now, but the fact that Charlie reported that they like him, Charlie's caveat was like the Raiders love him, but they're not sure if they want to take a running back at 6. So that's the only issue here. But I'm going to stick with Genty to the Raiders for now. 7, Mason Graham to the Jets. The Jets really missed John Franklin Myers last year, so they get to take another defensive tackle. Feels like they draft a defensive tackle like every 3 years, and it generally works out for them. Like they've drafted some good ones, but they really need some defensive line help next to Quinn Williams. Number 8, Mykel Williams going to the Panthers. Another Charlie report saying the Panthers really like Mykel Williams and Shamar Stewart, so the 2 edge rushers. Makes sense for the Panthers to address the edge rush. They really missed Brian Burns last year, and they had the worst pressure rate in the NFL. So they really need to address this part of the roster. But you could argue that they need to address a lot of things. This team is pretty weak. See, the Raiders would draft a running back in the first round. Oh, yeah, they've done it. It's different regime. Actually, it's a couple of regimes ago, but still, they've done it before. Josh Jacobs did pan out for them. But I'm with you, John. I don't like drafting running backs in the first round unless like it's like top tier elite talent like McCaffrey or Barkley, like someone who can like just revolutionize the team, just really put a team on his back. Not only that, but like also be a big part of the passing game. Because like McCaffrey's like not really a running back. He's also a big time receiver for the 49ers right now, and he was for the Panthers. And same thing for Barkley, even though he didn't catch as many passes as he's done in the past. But still, like he was a big part of the Giants' passing game. To kind of like transcend what a running back is. But I do get your point. Yeah, Jacobs really turned their franchise around. Yeah, I mean, like, look, who else would have been better for them at that point? I don't know. I mean, like, it's crazy. Of all the first round picks they made on their Mayock, that was the best one. Like all the other ones were just terrible. They Cleveland Farrell, John Abram, who am I forgetting? Henry Ruggs. They had a couple other bums. Like none of these first round picks panned out for them except for Jacobs. So like I don't know. Maybe running back's just safer at that point, even though they get to get injured a lot. PD loves a good running back, yeah, for sure. And then yes, but Campbell's total wingspan is way shorter. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I mean, we've seen so many tackles with shorter wingspans do well. That's true. He killed the draft on day 3, though. Yeah, I know Mayock did, and that's where his scouting came in. I wonder, like, what led him to draft so many bums on day 1, because he was great on day 3. It feels like he just because like when he drafted Farrell, his like his defense of that was like Farrell's such a great teammate. And I'm like, okay, but he's not like an elite talent, so maybe that was Mayock's thing, is like he was looking too much at like the intangibles in the first round and not enough at like just drafting the best player available, because it doesn't feel like he ever did that. outside of Jacobs, and you can make the case for Ruggs. Like he had his legal issues. So, but then again, like I back then I thought Jefferson and Judy were better. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Although to be fair to Mayock, I'm pretty sure that Ruggs pick was on Gruden. Because I think that Gruden drafted the offensive players and Mayock drafted the defensive players. When the two were together, I should say. So I don't think that Mayock was responsible for Ruggs. Mike says I'm all for Judkins. The Bills at 30. We'll see. Well, I'm curious if they'll do that because they tend to go toward positional value. But as I said before, this draft doesn't have that many first-round caliber prospects. So you're basically drafting Judkins in the second round at that point. So why not? Like you're going to pass on a better player in favor of a better positional value because you're 3 picks away. So like if this pick were 33 rather than 30, like Judkins would be better. Like it's kind of funny that way. Like I can see like passing a Judkins at like number 20. But at 30, you're basically in the second round. So I'm fine with it. You see Russiagate 2.0 coming to smear with hilarious claims like Russia's plot, hack power grid, lower level Carter page 19% stake in oil company, Steele dossier, only BuzzFeed takes, etc. Yeah, I mean, if you look at like Blue Anon, like they call Trump like president. I forget, I don't know, like it's some Russian word, like president something. Like they've come up with like this theory that Trump is actually the Russian president. It's like it's unbelievable. So like these people will stop at nothing. I think they'll definitely try to do something. It may not be like Russia, but like they'll try to do it. And if it's a Democratic House in 2026 onward, or after the 2026 election, I should say, I think they're definitely going to try to impeach him. Like they can't do it now because it's a Republican House. Plus, he won the popular vote, so I don't think like it makes sense. I know some are drafting impeachment articles, but like it's never gonna like come to a vote. I don't think. But they're gonna try to do it, and like yeah, it might be a Russiagate 2.0. It might be something else. They'll try to get him on something, but I don't think they'll have much success. These people are not bright. Uh, Mike Mayock. Yeah, no, like Mayock was awesome on day 3. Like he got Max Crosby in on day around 4, around 5. There were I could go down the list. So there are a number of great picks they had in day 3. It'll be a Democratic House as Trump keeps tanking the market because of his stupid tariff theories. Well, I don't know. Like people may not get this, but like the market was going up under Biden because of inflation. Like the money wasn't worth as much as it was before, and so that's why stocks kept going up. Is because if your money's worth less, then the perceived value of something is worth more, even though it's not. And so that's why the market is going up, even though the economy was awful. The economy is going to be a lot better under Trump. But like there might be some temporary like I think there might be a month more or two of pain, but I think ultimately it will be better under Trump. Like I don't think it's going to tank that much more. At least like not long term, maybe like like I said, 1 or 2 more bad months, and then I think it'll turn around. But I guess you never know. If I were like, I don't usually like buy or sell calls and puts. Well, I do sell. Sorry, I do sell calls and puts, but as far as buying them, if I did it, I think I'd be buying puts right now. So like you can make a lot of money in the market when the market goes down. Like you just buy puts on stuff. Like I really wish I was like I had stocks back in back when COVID started. Like I had like before GameStop, I had this like long position on Starbucks and CBS and some others. DraftKings. Oh no, DraftKings is later. Something else. I can't remember, but maybe it was MGM. But I didn't really get into options until much later, and like I'm really kicking myself because I knew about this COVID stuff because like I really like watch the news religiously. Like I listen to like podcasts and stuff like when I'm like walking the dogs and whatnot, or if I'm working on stuff that doesn't require like careful writing. And I knew about like COVID back in December I saw like videos of like people dropping like dead in like China and stuff. And I knew like the market was gonna be awful. And I'm just thinking like back now, I'm like, wait, why didn't I buy puts on the SPY and whatnot? Like you could have made so much money buying puts on the SPY back then, because like the market tanked. Like the Dow would drop. There's a few days the Dow dropped like 2,000 points, and like they even closed the market early some of these days. And there were some crazy days. Like usually when like the Dow dropped 2,000 points, the next day the Dow would like go up 1,500, and then it would drop 2,000 again. It was insane. But yeah, if you bought puts when like the first day. I think it was when like Rudy Gobert licked that person or something and got COVID and everything shut down. I think that was like March 13th or 14th, 2020. If you bought puts the next day and just held them for a couple months, you would have made like insane money. I think like the SPY dropped, what the SPY dropped like 150 points. So that's what, it's what $15,000 per contract. You would have made if you just bought 10 contracts, you would have made $150,000. Like it's crazy. So yeah, it's yeah, I wish I knew about that. I wish I like got more into options back then. So I don't see like the market dropping nearly as much as it did back then. Like there's no reason for it to do it like right now. I know the tariff stuff and the tariff stuff's going to make us money. Like that, it's like so stupid. The other countries are charging us tariffs, and so what Trump said, he would just wants reciprocal tariffs for other countries, which makes sense. Like if they're charging us, like why wouldn't we charge them? And if anything, it'll cause stuff to be made here in America, which will be cheaper in the long term. So I think it's a good thing. And yes, what Sue is saying is true. Well, Trump uses tariffs to get what he wants. Yeah, it's a negotiation ploy. Trump is a businessman. He makes deals. He wrote the book Art of the Deal. Like this is just him trying to make deals. That's like what he does. Yeah, he has the guy has leverage and knows how to use it. Yeah, exactly. I think you said it perfectly. So maybe it says the federal spending giving citizens thousands of dollars during the COVID shutdown caused the inflation and put $7 trillion onto the national debt. Yeah, look, that was terrible. In hindsight, like completely unnecessary. They shouldn't have closed anything down. Like 15 days to slow the spread. That made sense. I don't agree with it, but like that made sense because you didn't know what this was, so like you didn't want to overwhelm the hospitals. But after the 15 days, like everything should have reopened again. And we wouldn't have had this issue. But also remember, the Federal Reserve is really responsible for the inflation. They print $540 million a day. It's insane. There's no reason for them to do that. And yeah, it's just awful. Yeah, no more waking up at night in fear of Canada attacking. Exactly. Yeah, those Mounties on those moose are really going to cause us trouble. John said, "Did you watch Trump's messages to Congress? Anything about banning soccer?" I unfortunately only watched like the last 30 minutes or 40 minutes. My son is, he's in a big boy bed now, and so he tends to get up a lot, and so I had to put him back to bed like 30 times. And by the end, I was standing up for so long, my back was like flaring up. It was brutal. Um, so yeah, it's that's part of the reason why we didn't have an NBA pick tonight, which like it would have been the Sixers, um, and I don't think it would have covered because they were close for a while. What were they? They lost by 14, but yeah, the spread was 13 and a half. They gives us like a 5-point game in the middle of the third quarter, and I think it was close throughout. And then they lost by 14. So it's a good thing that yeah, I didn't get to the NBA pick. Patrick says it's funny because he expelled Russian diplomats, added 2 countries to NATO, sent equipment to Poland and anti-tank missiles to Ukraine, and still called the puppet. Agree with John on tariffs. Yeah, I mean, look, they don't care. They'll call him a Russian asset no matter what. That's because this is their stupid narrative. Um, Found my favorite news podcast, a Racket News with Matt Taibbi, Dave Smith show. I love Dave Smith. Glenn Greenwald, these good too. Gray Zone, never heard of Gray Zone. Tom Woods show, to name a few. I like Tim Cast myself. I love Dave Smith show too. Yeah, no, he didn't, but he did say that anyone who kills a cop apparently gets an automatic death sentence. Yeah, I don't like the automatic like stuff. Anything automatic, like there's nuance to everything, and like you never know. Like, what if they find someone guilty and then they find that he's innocent? Like, it's so like my thing is like, do you trust the government to make these decisions? And I don't. Or it's tough. It's tough. Like if beyond the shadow of a doubt, like if someone kills someone else, then yeah, I get it. But like sometimes you just don't know, and like you're gonna put innocent people on death row. Like I think that's bad. So yeah, look in a vacuum, sure, but it's never perfect that way. All right, number 9, Will Campbell. As I mentioned that he's still in the top 10. Here he is. The Saints have issues at tackle. They drafted Talis Fawaga last year, but they can move into right tackle, which I think makes more sense for him. Will Tackle's more of Will Tackle. Will Campbell's more of a left tackle. Yeah, and plus he's a local guy. I'm sure the Saints would like to pick. Armand Membu, the 10th pick to the Bears. He was great at the combine. Showed some amazing athleticism. I think like he qualified for like 4 categories. I think it was like a certain 40, a certain 10-yard split, a certain vertical, a certain like size, and also like a certain arm length too. So it's 5. I think it was 5 categories, and like Trent Williams, and Tristan Wirfs are the only 3 tackles in combine history to meet those criteria. So I think he's going to be drafted very highly. And he can play guard. He can play tackle and guard. So the Bears need offensive line help, even though they trade for Jonah Jackson today, who's it's good, but always injury prone. Like the Bears still need help for Caleb Williams. So I think if Michael Williams is here, I think he goes to the Bears. He's like fits what Ryan Poles likes, but he's off the board. So number 11, Kenneth Grant going to the Niners. I don't need to explain that the Niners have taken defensive tackle. They always love the defensive lineman, and Javon Hargrave is someone they're going to have to replace, and they really have to replace DeForest Buckner. They haven't done that since he left, and this could be the long-term answer. They thought Javon Kinlaw was going to be that guy, and he wasn't. So maybe Kenneth Grant will be. 12, Dallas, Teteroa McMillan. So I basically flip-flop Genty and McMillan here. Dallas, I've seen some mock drafts with Dallas taking like Omarion Hampton at 12 or Judkins at 12. And I'm like, man, that's so early. They could trade up from the second round to the end of the first to get one of those guys. At 12, you have to get like a star player. McMillan, I think, is that. CeeDee Lamb's great, but like that's all they have at receiver. They don't have anything else, so they need to get someone to take attention away from Lamb, and I think McMillan's the best player here. 13, Nick Amanawari to the Dolphins. He was awesome to combine too. It's just amazing athleticism. I expected it. I mean, I thought like he was known as a guy who's very athletic, but like he beat all expectations. Like what he did was terrific. And the Dolphins, they only have 1 safety on the active roster right now. If you remove all the guys who are going to hit free agency, that's Patrick McMorris, who was a 6th-round rookie last year. So they have nothing at safety. So they need help here to try to combat Josh Allen. 14, Tyler Booker. Charlie Campbell reported that the Colts really like Booker. They love his like team leadership and whatnot, plus his talent. He had an awful combine though, just horrible athleticism. It's not like if you're gonna ding someone for horrible athleticism, like maybe like you won't care too much if it's a guard. So I don't think it matters too much. I still think he's gonna be a 1st-round pick, but some of his numbers were pretty ghastly. They're awful. Like his 10-yard split was like a 1.9, so slow. And he had like the slowest or second slowest 3-cone time, second slowest short shuttle time. He was bad at the combine, but the tape is gonna be great. So I think the Colts like the idea of having Quentin Nelson and Tyler Booker, like potentially having like the best guard duo in the NFL. I think that's something they'd like for Jonathan Taylor and whatnot. Shamar Stewart, I mentioned him a little earlier. He goes to Atlanta. Atlanta's pass rush historically has been awful since they went to the Super Bowl back in 2016. It was better at the second half of last year. I don't know what happened exactly, but after they came out of their Week 12 bye, they were much better as far as the pass was concerned. So we'll see if that continues. But I think that they might be interested in like Shamar Stewart or something if they can get him. And then 16, the Cardinals get the best corner in the draft, Will Johnson. From what I hear, they want to tackle, even though they have Jonah Williams and Paris Johnson, but they're not confident that Jonah Williams can stay healthy, so that would explain that pick. But yeah, I mean, if Will Johnson's on the board, I feel like they're gonna have a tough time passing up on him because he's just so talented, and it fills such a big need. Um, let's see. Mike says, I guess it's a good thing, but banning soccer is important too. Yeah, seriously, like let's get the soccer crap out of here. Trust the government? No way. Yeah, no, you can't trust the government at all. Dolphins 1 safety, 7 running backs. That's the roster breakdown. I don't I don't know what they're doing, but so Mike says, like Membu, I played both guard and tackle in high school. Coach told me to guard the water bucket and tackle anyone who went near it. Nice one, Mike. All right, let's get to the second half of the first round. 17, Walter Nolan to the Bengals. He compared himself to Aaron Donald. We'll see if he lives up to that. It's a high mark there, but the Bengals really need defensive tackle help, and Walter Nolan's super talented. There's some concern with his off the field stuff, but we'll see. Like, he can still be the 17th pick. I've had him all over the place. I've had him in the first round. I've had him in the second round. I've had him in the third round. I told this to Charlie when he was on last week. I was like, man, I have no idea where to put this guy. He could be drafted early because of his talent. He could fall. He could fall because of the character concerns. So I don't know. Bengals historically have drafted players with negative character concerns. So maybe they'll do that here. Number 18, Jalen Walker to the Seahawks. I think Seattle's in play for a quarterback. We'll see whether it's like Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe. I think that they could take a quarterback. Right now, I have them take a Walker, but I might change that pick later. We'll see. But yeah, it makes sense for them to adjust the edge rusher spot because they've had issues there in the past, and yeah, they have some free agents on the defensive line that they need to replace. 19, Jihad Campbell to the Buccaneers. They have Levante David right now, who's a free agent, but if he stays, he's going to be back with the Buccaneers. Like, he's either going to stay with Tampa or retire. But he hasn't made a decision yet, so there's a chance he could retire, or maybe after this year retires. They lost Devin White, so they don't really have anything a linebacker. So I think they're interested in Campbell. I think Charlie reported that as well. 20, Broncos taking Tyler Warren's kind of like their replacement, or it's Sean Payton's answer to Jimmy Graham. Who was was a big time weapon for him in New Orleans, and so Denver doesn't have a good tight end on the roster, so Warren could be that guy. 21, Steelers taking Derek Harmon. I think defensive tackle makes a lot of sense. Quarterback too. I think they can move up for quarterback potentially. I don't know if they can move all the way up for Sanders or something, but if Sanders slips, I'll say this. I heard from a scout on an NFC team. He told me that he thinks Sanders will go in the second round. Shador Sanders will go in the second round. I don't agree with that, but like that is a thought from someone who works for an NFL team. So take that for what it's worth. I think if Sanders falls to where like around Pittsburgh or Seattle's range, I think they snap him up. Like I don't see Shador Sanders falling in the second round, but like I said, someone who works for the NFL, and I think he does a good job. He thinks Sanders will fall to the second round, so we'll see. He could be right. But yeah, Cameron Hayward's getting up there in age, so it makes sense to find a successor for him. 22, Benjamin Morrison to the Chargers. They have issues with cornerbacks, so taking a cornerback here makes sense. I don't see them drafting a receiver. It's not Jim Harbaugh style. Maybe second round, but not at 22. Jordan Birch to the Packers. They love their athletic upside guys. This is one of them, and their pass rush wasn't as good last year as it's been in the past, so they could use some juice here. And then 24, Malachi Starks to the Vikings. Harrison Smith is getting up there in age. He doesn't have much time left, so this is a replacement for them in the near future. Who names their kid Jihad? I know, seriously. It's a little weird. Kim McKinney says Seahawks offense or defensive line, please. I think it's gonna be quarterback. I think it will be. I don't know for sure, Kim McKinney will, but I think it will be. Kim McKinney, well, let me ask you this: if it's a quarterback, who do you want? Assuming Ward's off the board, like, would you want to trade up like 8 spots or something for Sanders if he falls? Or if not, would you want Dart or Milroe or Ewers or who? Let me know. Yeah, maybe it's a nickname. Well, that's something we can look up because we have this cool thing called the internet here. Let's see if he has. Let's see if there's a nickname. No, it looks like Jihad Campbell is his real name. Born February 24th, 2004. Wow. Yeah, that looks like Jihad Campbell is his real name. Yeah. So, yeah, not a nickname. I can see someone trading up to the end of the first round, like Lamar in 2018. Yeah, I think there will be three quarterbacks. This is like an early draft prop bet. Um, Not that I have access to it right now. I need to drive to New Jersey to do it, sadly. But whatever the odds on three quarterbacks go in the first round, I'd bet that, or over 2.5, whatever it is. Seems a little high for Morrison with the hip injury. Yeah, could be. I mean, he'd be up this high if it wasn't for that. But we'll see how serious that is. Evidently, Trump didn't say anything to scare the market. Stock futures looking positive for tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, you never know how it's going to go. It feels like when the futures are up, like the market tanks, and when the futures are down, the market soars. Like the futures were blood red last night, and then the market was up today. Like it started low, but it went up. So I feel like you just never know where it's going to go. Quarterbacks suck this year, passing all of them. I agree, but can we do if you're like Seattle is going to take a quarterback? If I told you that right now for sure, like which one would you want? Like just let me know. Okay. John Sanders. I think McDermott named one of his kids Gian. Probably did. I'm afraid the Bills might jump to get him because of that. Yeah. Well, you might be saved by the Bills not liking linebackers in the first round, John. All right. Let's move on here. Texans taking Gray Zabel. I have him down as a tackle, but I don't know why it's not what I have on my site. It's not what I have like here on my files, but I have him down as tackle / guard / center. He can play all five positions up front. The Texans need offensive line help badly. So yeah, they could take a guy who can play anywhere. So it makes a lot of sense to me. 26 Luther Burden to the Rams. Cooper Kupp's almost certainly going to be gone. Like you never know. Like maybe he like really restructures his contract, or maybe it's one of those deals where they cut him and then he signed cheaply or something. You see that sometimes. I think that potential of happening, but he really looked like really shot last year. Just nothing left in the tank. He might have like a resurgence, kind of like Adam Thielen had in Carolina. Wouldn't surprise me if he's like an okay producer, but it just seems like he's just really on the decline right now. So the Rams need another receiver. Burden is probably the best bailout player available. Or you could argue it's James Pierce going to the Ravens. Charlie Campbell reported that a lot of teams removed Pierce from the draft board. It's not going to be every team, but a bunch of teams that Charlie spoke to said that they don't have Pierce on the draft board. So I think he's due for a fall. He could fall out of the first round. He could be like one of those topics like that ESPN and NFL Network have ahead of day two, of like what happened to James Pierce? Why did he fall? Like there's off the field stuff with him, which like I don't really know what, like, because I know he had a bad encounter with a police officer. But like that's all I could find. Like there's a chance that maybe he just interviewed really poorly with teams at the combine. Of course they're going to ask him about it. And so like if he wasn't like remorseful about it or something, or if he like blamed the cop for it, maybe teams are just put off by it or something. I don't know what else he could have done. That's the only thing I could dig up on just doing like Google searches. But apparently that teams are really put off by him, but he has the talent. Like so the Ravens have taken character concern guys before, so they could do it again with Pierce to fill a need. Another edge rusher, Jack Sawyer to the Lions. Feels like the kind of guy that Dan Campbell would love. Just like high motor, high effort, high production in college. These are players that the Lions have drafted over and over again under Dan Campbell's watch. Just seems like match made in heaven here for the Lions. Alfred Collins going to the Redskins. I've had a receiver here for a while, but they just traded for Deebo Samuel, so I don't think they go receiver. They could still do it because Deebo is not the youngest guy, and I still think they need one more receiver. So I hadn't taken a receiver either in round 2 or round 3. But it sounds like they're going to lose Jonathan Allen. So this is a replacement for him. Number 30, Maxwell Hairston to the Bills. I had another cornerback here last time, but Hairston had a great combine, so I moved them up. And we know the Bills need a cornerback. Russell Douglas is heading for free agency, and this was is kind of a weak spot for them last year. So this definitely fills a need. Chiefs going tackle shouldn't surprise anyone. 31, the Chiefs get Josh Connerly Jr., a really athletic tackle. Feels like someone that Andy Reid would love. Connerly is a natural left tackle for the NFL. That's exactly what Kansas City needs. They've had a revolving door at left tackle. Nothing worked. They finally put Tooney there, and like he got really exposed in the Super Bowl. Like they can't keep Josh Tooney at left tackle. It's just they lose too much. They lose out on two positions because like first of all he's not that good of left tackle, and second they lose an elite guard. So it makes sense to keep Tooney at guard and then draft a left tackle like Connerly. And so, if he pans out, the Chiefs are going to be a scary team. It feels like everyone's writing them off. When I bet the Chiefs at 9-1 to win the Super Bowl with some profit boost, people are like, "Why are you betting the Chiefs? The Chiefs are not getting back there." We had Tom. I respect Tom's opinions, but he said that like he thinks the Chiefs are headed for decline next year. And I've heard that sentiment over and over again for so many people, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like if they were 15-2 this year with no left tackle to speak of, and Rashee Rice on the IR for all but 4 games. They're going to get Rashee Rice back, and I assume they're going to get a good left tackle. So if if Rice stays healthy and their left tackle pans out, like they're going to be better than they were last year. So yeah, they're not going to get all the close games, but they're going to have more blowout wins. So and plus as long as they have Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're going to be in the mix at the end. I think it's going to be Chiefs, Bills, Chiefs, Bills, maybe Ravens, but like I think the Ravens are headed for decline. It depends maybe what the Texans, Chargers, they're kind of wild cards right now. Like if they make some really good moves, they might be in the mix for the Super Bowl. But really, it's going to just come down to Chiefs and Bills again. I think they're the 2 best teams in the conference by a mile right now. And unless something changes, it's going to be them in the AFC Championship once again. So why not bet the Chiefs? Because they've always gotten to the Super Bowl with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, if Connolly works out, that they're a team that's going to be one of the top 3 in the NFL once again. And then speaking of tackles going to elite teams, the Eagles getting Emory Jones here shouldn't be a surprise to no one. The Eagles love drafting for the future. They did it with like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter when they knew Fletcher Cox was going to retire. They did it with Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat and such when they knew Brandon Graham was going to retire. And they know Lane Johnson's and he's either like 35 or 36, so he doesn't have that much time left. So the Eagles can draft a tackle for the future, and 2 years from now, Emory Jones can just plug and play at right tackle when Lane Johnson retires. So yeah, that's my mock draft. And we'll be on with Charlie on Thursday. We'll try to do a mock draft. It's gonna be tough with 2 people, so it's not gonna be as fast. And yeah, maybe that'll give us time to answer some questions in between. Let's see here. We have some comments here. Does Pierce also have short arms? I think. I don't know. Let me look that up real fast. So I have my combine entry sheet still here. So let me go to linebacker. I don't know why he's listed as linebacker on here. James Pierce, arm length. He's 32 3/4 inches arms. So that's pretty mediocre. I mean, most of these guys are 32 or 33 inches. There's some are 34. There's some at 31. I think it's okay. 32 3/4 is not too bad. Just don't trade with them again, and I'll be fine. Yeah. All right. Now for me, I want total jihad. All right. Kim McNeil, Ward and Sanders will be gone. Dark. Well, that's why I said like that scout I talked to. He thinks Sanders will be drafted in round 2, so that's why I included him. Dark comes out of Kiffin's offense, so no. I don't know the others that well. Isn't the USCF quarterback supposed to be okay, or the or the South Dakota quarterback? Well, I mean like the first round, so. I assume it'll be like either Dart or Milrow or maybe Ewers at 18. So I was just asking you who you'd want there. I came in after the 8-minute mark. Any discussion speculation on where Devontae Adams lands? No, we didn't discuss that, but we could go through it. So let me not that it matters so much, but let me pull up the cap space here. He's not gonna like break the bank for any team, unlike like T Higgins or something. But so Devontae Adams, you assume will be going to a team with Aaron Rodgers. They've been a package deal. It may not be the case, but I think they want to keep playing together. So I'm going to assume that they're going to go to a team that needs a quarterback and a receiver. So you go down this list. Will Devontae Adams go back to the Raiders? Now that they have a new coach, it could be because Aaron Rodgers could go to the Raiders and Devontae Adams could go back. I think that's definitely possible. Keep going down this list. Steelers. The Steelers need a quarterback and a receiver. And I know that we are. Who was it? I think it was Butters when we had the golf guys on. He said that he liked the Steelers to potentially win the Super Bowl if Aaron Rodgers went there. So if they get Rodgers and Adams, I still don't think that's enough. First of all, I don't think Rodgers is that good anymore. And second, they still have some concerns. I like the roster though, but I don't think Rodgers is good enough to mask some of the deficiencies. They don't really have much of a running game. Their defense had a decline last year. So yeah, if this is Rodgers 3 years ago, I think that would put them in the conversation. But I don't know now. If this were Stafford, I think the Steelers would be in Super Bowl contention with him, but not Rodgers at this point. But still, I think Pittsburgh would make sense for Rodgers plus Adams. If the Rams moved on for Stafford, and I'd say them, but they're not. The Titans make a lot of sense. The Titans had no quarterback, and I've said this a few times. I think Tennessee's the favorite to land Rodgers because, obviously they need a quarterback, but Rodgers has a home in Tennessee, and he's friends with two people in the front office. The Titans have Calvin Ridley, but that's it. They lost Hopkins. They're gonna Nick Westbrook-Ikine is still a free agent. I don't know if you know if I want to count him, but he's still a free agent. I think they could both go to Tennessee. Giants make sense. As Patrick pointed out before, he's concerned about Rodgers going to the Giants. They could sign him. And they only have Malik Neighbors at receiver. Darius Slayton's a free agent, so they could use the number 2 receiver. So Rodgers plus Adams could go to the Giants. Let's move on. I don't know if there are that many teams left here. Seahawks, no. I'm not I'd say the Browns, but I don't see Rodgers going there. So yeah, those are the teams. I think Tennessee is the most likely team, but it could be a few others. People think they were fraudulent last year and got exposed in the Super Bowl. Might get some value with them. Yeah, I think so too. They're not even. They're not. I don't think they're the AFC favorite to go to the Super Bowl. Let's see here. Let's go to FanDuel and look at. As Scheffler's plus 320. He's plus 405 at bookmaker. Let's go to Super Bowl. Okay, here they are. I saw one sports book where they're behind Baltimore for the odds, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense, especially Ronnie Stanley heading for free agency. The Ravens are going to have the same issue as the Chiefs this year if Ronnie Stanley leaves. So, plus 650. I saw him at 7-1. So yeah, if you have some profit boost, take that to 9-1 or 10-1. I like that a lot. They're still, I think they're the best team in the AFC. It's either them or the Bills. And like I said, those two teams I think are a mile ahead of everyone else. Assuming that the Ravens lose some guys like Ronnie Stanley. You're gonna have Baltimore. I think they declined. Bengals, their defense still sucks. Like I said, Chargers, Texans are wild cards. They could do some stuff in free agency to make them better. Maybe CJ Stroud bounces back. I think the Chargers were a year ahead where they should have been. So I think this year, if they fill some of their big needs, then they could get there too. But ultimately, like I said, it's gonna be Chiefs, Bills at the end. So yeah, Chiefs. Either of those teams at 10-1 is fantastic. Wherever Rodgers goes, I think he has Adams on retainer. Yeah, I think so too. Rashee Rice better have a chauffeur. I don't understand any player. Forget driving drunk. any player just driving. This doesn't make sense to me. Like if you have that much money, like how do you not have a personal driver? Like because you get to just chill out in your car. I don't have the money for a personal driver. If I did, I would, I would just have a personal driver. I don't want to drive anywhere. It's like you don't have to worry about traffic. Obviously, you have to sit in the car there in traffic, but like you don't have to like be stressed out about it. Yeah, if someone cuts you off, like you're not like angry at them. You don't honk your horn. You just chill out in the back of the car and like either listen to music or do whatever. Um, I don't know if and plus like it's a tax write off for their business because to drive to the stadium and stuff like that they get to write that off for taxes. Like I, I don't get any player driving. It's ridiculous. It's no Mike Rogers and Lazard are headed to the NFL Seniors League. I don't like. I found the notion that like the Jets gave Alan Lazard permission to seek a trade. I'm like, what? With what team? The CFL teams? Like, who's going to want this guy? Rogers and Adams go to the Giants. They won't have to move out. That's true. That is a perk. Although you still have to live in that dumpster of a city. So I'd rather go to Tennessee personally. Lots of humor in the chat room. I had to carry Walt without Evan tonight. Well, Evan's not going to be on during the off season. Maybe like once or twice. I think he's going to be on for like our college basketball preview for the NCAA tournament because he's a big time better for that. But Evan's like he's gonna be away in the summer anyway. It's not like he could come on. Like he told me he goes up into the mountains in PA for the whole summer. And he said he basically like shuts the internet off. Like he just like is with his family for like 2 months or something. So he wouldn't be on anyway during the summer. So Evan will be back in the fall for sure. I don't know if it's gonna be on Tuesdays. It might be Thursdays. Like it depends on his schedule, but he will be a weekly guest during the fall next year. And it sounds like we're gonna have a joint super contest entry too, which I'm very excited about because I feel like he and I have a really good rapport and I think that like we can talk each other out of bad bets. Like we actually did that like during the season. Although like I should say like we didn't really like talk each other out, but like if we were in a contest entry together, like for like I'll give you an example of my bad bet. Like when I had the Browns against the Saints, like I was really confident in that pick, but he was like adamant. I was like taking the Browns was a big mistake. And so if we had this joint entry, I wouldn't have been on the Browns. And like I felt like I've done that with him too. I know I can't remember what game it was, but he liked the Patriots late in the season. Looking at the schedule now, I may have been against the Cardinals or Chargers. I think it was that Chargers game in Week 17. I think he liked the Patriots there, and the Chargers won 40-7. And I remember trying to talk him out of that one. And so, like, I feel like there would be a good back and forth where we talk each other out of bad picks. And so maybe we would just fall into the good ones. So I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I think our entry could do really well. I heard Rashi Rice hired Brock as a chauffeur. Yeah, speaking of lots of humor in the chat room, that's good. Uh, that's awesome. Barkley Torres ACL signing his new contract. Hey, that's not funny. It's John. No, that contract. Look, I heard people argue it's too much money, but he's the best offensive player in the NFL. Yeah, he's a running back. He could go down any time. It's like running backs come and go. It's crazy. Like remember Todd Gurley took his team to the Super Bowl. He was the offensive player of the year. If the Rams won the Super Bowl, he would have been MVP of the Super Bowl. Like he was so good. And heading into the NFL, I know one team that didn't land him. I'm really good friends with this guy. He's high up in an NFL front office. He told me, he's like, well, I love Todd Gurley. I think he's gonna be the next Jim Brown. And who knows? He could have been if he stayed healthy, but 2 years after that Super Bowl, he was out of the league completely, just gone. So these running backs come and go, and that's why it's so difficult to give these guys such a big contract. But if Barkley stays healthy, the Eagles are going to be in Super Bowl contention every year, especially given how good the rest of the roster is. But Barkley just puts them over the top. So like I get it. Like, yeah, it might be too much money, but at the same time, it's only 2 more years. It's not like 4 more years. 2 more years is doable. And yeah, I mean, it's part of it is like thank you for for winning us the Super Bowl, but I mean, next 2 seasons, like unless he gets hurt, like he's still going to be at the top of his game. So, um, what you have for March Madness teams to speculate on? I don't watch college basketball anymore, so I haven't much of a clue. Um, yeah, look, what you could do right now is you can always go to like Ken Palm. Although I think like you have to pay for it, but let me see if I could get in trouble for posting this. I don't know. Who cares? Let's see. Let me pull this up. So this is awesome data here. Well, maybe I won't get in trouble for this because I'm promoting their site. So KenPom.com. If you really want to bet college basketball or like the tournament, like this site is the best. Like they have so much data here. It's insane data. So they have data on everything and like all these like offensive rating, defense rating, tempo, luck, strength of schedule. It's crazy. Non-conference net rating, strength of schedule, net rating. If Duke, Auburn, Houston, Florida as the 4 best teams right now. I don't know if that like I'd love to hear Evan's thoughts on that because I know he calls it religiously. Like he bets college basketball every night. I don't. I focus on the NBA plus golf. Feel like college basketball would just be way too much, especially like free agency coming around the corner. I just couldn't really cover it. But like, well, first of all, we're gonna have Evan on for the NCAA tournament preview. So that you could definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested in this in college basketball, I would really recommend KenPom.com. I've used their data to make my NCAA tournament picks. So yeah, like I said, yeah, if you're interested in that stuff, I would sign up for the site. I don't know how much the subscription is. I do subscribe, although I don't know why it says password or emails are correct, but I am a subscriber here, so I this is not like it's not like they're not like paying me to promote this. So this is honestly just something I like a lot. Gurley was great, too short of a career. Yeah, it's such a shame, because he was so good. And not only was he good, he helped us out. That Packers Rams game, he covered the spread because he took a knee short of the goal line. I even bought a Todd Gurley jersey because he did that. That was our pick of the month, and I even said in the show, I'm like, I'm buying a Todd Gurley jersey because he did that, and I have one. I have one upstairs. Yeah, a luck rating. Wow. Yeah, look, they have everything on here. Even if you click on like a team, okay, I have to. I guess okay. That's why it is. My membership is expired. Okay. Well, yeah, which makes sense because they usually renew right before the tournament starts. So yeah, it says $24.95. I think it's pretty reasonable for what they offer. Yeah, if you have a membership and you click on a team, they'll give you like breakdowns of every single player on that roster and all the breakdown of their entire schedule and everything. There's so much data on the site. It's insane. So like I said, I definitely recommend it. So, I guess that's about it. Yeah, guys, I think that's about it. So we're gonna have longer shows tomorrow and Thursday and Saturday because we're gonna have guests on. So Ken will be on tomorrow, Charlie will be on Thursday, and then Tom will be on Saturday. So yeah, should be fun episodes. I'm looking forward to it, and thank you guys for watching and commenting and having a great a comedy chat here. It's just really appreciated. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would mean a lot to us. And yeah, have a great night, guys. And I will talk to you tomorrow.